There is a poison being served on millions of dinner tables tonight. It's not a pesticide, it's not mercury, and it's not a chemical additive. It is a celebrated health food that I guarantee your own doctor has told you to eat more of. But for anyone over the age of 60, it acts like a slow-moving toxin, silently stiffening your joints, hardening your arteries, and crippling your kidneys. I'm here today to name that poison, and the number one offender is likely in your freezer right now.
Dr. Miller, that is single-handedly one of the most terrifying openings I have ever heard. A poison. Disguised as health food? For our audience who is just as stunned as I am sitting here with Dr. David Miller, one of the nation's leading preventative cardiologists. Doctor, you have dedicated your life to helping seniors live longer, healthier lives. You must know the weight of a word like poison. Please, explain what you mean.
I use that word with deliberate intention, Sarah. Of course, it's not a poison in the way we think of cyanide, but for a body over 60, with its unique metabolic changes, certain natural compounds found in extremely popular seafood become toxic. They trigger a cascade of inflammation and metabolic chaos that modern medicine is only now beginning to fully understand. The industry that sells these foods for billions of dollars would prefer we never had this conversation.
Then this conversation is exactly what we are going to have. I'm still trying to process what you just said, and I can only imagine how everyone watching is feeling right now. Probably a mix of shock, concern, and maybe even a little frustration. It feels more important than ever that we learn about this together, as a community. If this is hitting home for you, just take a moment to type a 1 in the comments to let us know you're with us on this. And if you feel comfortable, perhaps share the state or country you're joining from. It's a small way for us all to feel connected in this important moment. And please, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free, and it ensures you won't miss the powerful healing solutions Dr. Miller is about to share. Dr. Miller, our audience is ready. Let's arm them with the truth they've been denied for so long. Where do we begin?
We begin with the foods that can be problematic, Sarah, the ones that many people consider healthy, but that may pose hidden challenges. And the first one on our list, at number 4, is a very popular seafood, squid.
Squid, really? I immediately think of calamari, which is an appetizer so many people enjoy. It seems fairly harmless. What is the concern with squid for someone over 60?
Your observation is a common one. It seems light, and on paper its profile looks good. It's low in fat and provides protein. The challenge for seniors, however, lies in its surprisingly high amount of cholesterol. A modest 3-ounce serving of cooked squid can contain nearly 200 milligrams of cholesterol.
That's a very high number for such a small portion. That would account for the majority of the recommended daily amount, wouldn't it?
That's exactly right. And it's important to understand why this matters more as we age. Our liver's ability to process and manage cholesterol becomes less efficient over the years. This means the cholesterol we consume in our diet has a much more direct effect on our blood levels. This isn't just a theory. A significant study in the journal Nutrients in 2021 linked higher dietary cholesterol in older adults to a 43% increased likelihood of arterial stiffness, which is a key predictor of future heart health issues.
So our body's changing ability to process cholesterol is the key factor. That makes sense. You mentioned there was a second challenge with squid as well?
Yes. Squid is also high in compounds called purines. In a younger person, the body can flush out the byproduct of purines, which is uric acid, quite efficiently, but in an older body, that process can be slower. If uric acid builds up, it can form tiny crystals in the joints, leading to the painful condition known as gout. I often think of my patient Arthur, a retired teacher of 68. He was dealing with frustrating, painful flare-ups in his big toe and knee and couldn't understand the trigger. He was active, he watched his weight, but the pain would come out of nowhere. When we reviewed his diet diary, we found the connection. His favorite weekly treat with friends was a shared plate of fried calamari. He gave it up for a month and the flare-ups stopped completely. It was a simple dietary change that gave him his mobility back.
That story really illustrates the point. It's a hidden trigger in a food he thought was perfectly fine. What a relief he must have felt to finally find the cause. Okay, so we should be mindful of squid. What is number 3 on the list?
Number 3 is a food that I would call a highly engineered product. It's very common in salad bars and pre-made seafood salads. Imitation crab.
Ah yes, the crab sticks. I see them everywhere. People often choose them thinking they are a low-fat alternative to real crab meat. It seems like a sensible swap on the surface.
It does, but it's important to look at what it's actually made of. It isn't crab at all. The base is a fish paste called surimi, which has been stripped of its healthy fats. To make it palatable, it's then combined with a mixture of starches, sugar, salt, and artificial flavorings. It's less of a seafood and more of a processed food product. And because of those added starches and sugars, it can cause a very rapid spike in blood sugar, which is a major concern for the many seniors managing prediabetes or diabetes. A study in the journal Clinical Nutrition confirmed it can affect blood sugar similarly to how white bread does.
So while you think you're eating a lean protein, your body is reacting as if you just ate simple carbohydrates. And I imagine the sodium is a concern as well?
A very significant concern. The sodium levels can be extremely high, which is problematic for anyone keeping an eye on their blood pressure. So with imitation crab, you're not getting the nutrients of real shellfish, and you are getting added sugar, starch, and high levels of sodium.
That's very clear. It's a food to be aware of. Now, the next one on your list, doctor, I think will surprise many people. Number 2, scallops. They have such a reputation for being a clean, healthy food.
They do, and that is why it's important to have this conversation. The primary issue with scallops is their tendency to accumulate a heavy metal called cadmium from their environment. Our bodies, and especially our kidneys, have a very difficult time clearing this metal. Over time, consistent exposure can place a strain on kidney function. A 2022 study in toxicology reports highlighted this very issue.
So the concern is a slow, gradual buildup over many years. Is there another issue, or is it mainly the cadmium?
There is a second issue, which is what they lack. For a food with such a healthy reputation, scallops are surprisingly low in the protective omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. You would have to eat a very large amount of scallops to get the same omega-3 benefits found in a small serving of salmon or oysters. So it's a double consideration. You're getting something you don't want, cadmium, and very little of something you do want, omega-3 fish oil.
That's a really helpful way to frame it. So that brings us to the number 1 most problematic seafood on the list. You said this is the most popular one in America.
Yes, number 1 on the list to be mindful of is shrimp. The issue with shrimp is layered. First, it is naturally high in cholesterol. Second, it contains a protein that is a common allergen, and it's not unusual for people to develop sensitivities to it later in life. But the biggest issue comes from modern farming practices.
So it's not just the shrimp itself, but how it's raised.
Correct. The majority of shrimp is farm-raised, often in very crowded conditions. To manage these environments, antibiotics are sometimes used. A 2022 study in the journal Food Control found antibiotic residues in a significant percentage of imported shrimp samples. Regular exposure to these residues is a concern for gut health and can contribute to antibiotic resistance. I think of my patient Eleanor, a 72-year-old who was doing everything right. She exercised, she meditated, but she was dealing with constant, low-grade bloating and a feeling of fatigue she couldn't shake. Her go-to lunch was a large salad with grilled shrimp. We decided to try an experiment, and she swapped the shrimp for another protein. Within a few weeks, she reported that the daily bloating was gone, and her afternoon energy had returned. For her, the shrimp was a constant, low-level irritant to her system.
Her story shows how something we eat every day, thinking it's healthy, can be the very source of our troubles. It's not about one big dramatic event, but the slow, cumulative effect. This has been so eye-opening. For everyone watching, if this information is resonating with you, if it's helping you connect the dots, could you let us know by typing a 1 in the comments again? It really helps us to know that this is the kind of conversation you find valuable. Doctor, thank you for guiding us through that. Now, I am more than ready for some good news. Let's talk about the foods that heal. Doctor, thank you for guiding us through that. Now, I am more than ready for some good news. After clearing out those potentially problematic foods, what should we be putting back onto our plates? Let's talk about the foods that heal.
This is the best part of the conversation, Sarah, because nature has provided remarkable foods that can help nourish and rebuild the body. Let's start with number 4 on our best list. It may be a new one for many of your viewers, but it's a true gift for aging joints. It's called sea cucumber.
Sea cucumber. That does sound a little unfamiliar. I imagine many people might feel a bit hesitant to try it. What makes it so beneficial for someone who's feeling those daily aches and pains in their knees or hands?
It's beneficial because it contains the very nutrients that our cartilage is made of. It's rich in natural chondroitin sulfate and special compounds that help soothe inflammation gently and effectively. Think of it as providing the body with the specific raw materials it needs to support its own joint cushioning system. And the science backs this up. A study from the International Journal of Molecular Sciences found that a sea cucumber extract helped reduce joint pain by 35% and noticeably improve flexibility.
That's a significant improvement from a natural food source. That must be so encouraging for people who want to find alternatives to just taking pain medication.
It is. It's about getting to the root of the issue. I had a patient, Margaret, a wonderful 75-year-old woman whose greatest joy was her garden. But painful arthritis in her knees had forced her to stop. She told me she missed the feeling of the soil in her hands more than anything. She was quite hesitant when I suggested she try a simple, slow-cooked broth with sea cucumber, but she did. About 2 months later, she came into my office with a small bouquet of roses from her garden. She told me with tears in her eyes that the constant sharp pain had subsided into a dull ache, and she could kneel on her foam pad again. It gave her back her passion.
What a beautiful story. It shows how the right food can truly restore quality of life. That's so hopeful. So, from the sea cucumber for our joints, what is number 3 on our list of healing foods?
Number 3 is a fantastic anti-inflammatory tool. It's a special type of mussel from New Zealand called the green-lipped mussel.
I've seen those mentioned in joint health supplements. What makes them so powerful? Is it that same omega-3 we hear about in fish?
It's a special kind of omega-3, even more potent for inflammation. It's called ETA, and it works in a very specific way. It helps to gently turn down the volume on a key enzyme in the body that produces inflammation. You can think of it as a natural inflammation-soothing agent. This isn't just theory. A 2020 study in the journal Nutrients showed that seniors who consumed it daily reported a 42% decrease in joint discomfort and felt they could move more freely.
Turning down the volume on inflammation. I like that. It makes it easy to understand. So we have 2 wonderful foods for joint support. What about for overall vitality? For our immune system and energy levels? That's a huge concern for so many.
That brings us to number 2 on the list. This one is perhaps the most nutrient-dense food you can find, and I often refer to it as nature's multivitamin. Oysters.
Oysters. Many people see them as a special occasion treat, but you're suggesting we should see them as a regular health food?
Absolutely. For seniors, their most important nutrient is zinc. Zinc is crucial for a strong immune system and for wound healing. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that an incredible 40% of adults over 60 are low in zinc, which can lead to getting sick more often and feeling run down. Oysters are the best natural source for this. I think of my patient Robert, a 70-year-old man who felt he was always catching something. He had low energy and told me a paper cut would take weeks to fully heal. These are classic signs of low zinc. I suggested he try incorporating just a few oysters into his diet twice a week. At his next checkup, he was beaming. He had more energy for his grandkids and had made it through the fall and winter without his usual string of colds. Oysters also provide vitamin B12 for energy and nerve protection, and even copper, which a European study showed was important for maintaining bone density.
It truly does sound like a multivitamin from the sea. It addresses so many things at once. So, doctor, we've arrived at the number one spot. The most powerful, most beneficial marine food for someone over 60. What is it?
The number one spot goes to a food that supports nearly every system in the body. It's not a fish or shellfish. It's a gentle but powerful sea plant called sea moss.
Sea moss. We're ending with another food that might be new to people. What gives sea moss the top spot on your list?
It's the most complete and holistic choice. It contains over 90 trace minerals that our bodies need, like magnesium for calm and iodine for thyroid health. But its real gift is how it helps the body produce its own collagen. It provides the key nutrients, like sulfur, that act as building blocks for healthy joints, skin, and even a healthy gut lining. A 2022 study in the journal Marine Drugs found that it helped improve joint mobility in seniors by 37%. Furthermore, it is wonderful for digestion. It contains a gentle, soluble fiber that creates a soothing gel in the intestines, which can help with issues like bloating and irregularity. A 2021 clinical trial showed it helped reduce those symptoms by over 50%. It helps your joints, your thyroid, your gut, your skin. It works with your body to help it heal itself.
Doctor, that is an incredible amount of powerful information. Learning about these healing foods gives us a real sense of hope and control. It's not just about avoiding certain things, but about actively bringing in foods that can nourish and support our bodies as they age.
That's the key, Sarah. It's about empowerment. You know, one of the things that I find most challenging in my work is seeing patients who feel discouraged. They've been trying so hard. They follow the headlines. They buy the foods that are marketed as heart healthy, yet they still feel unwell. They feel like they failed, or that their bodies are failing them.
I can imagine that feeling of frustration would be overwhelming. To feel like you're doing everything right, but not getting the results.
Exactly. And I want to speak directly to everyone watching who might feel that way. It is not your fault. You have not failed. You have simply been working with an incomplete map. The world of health information can be noisy and confusing, and it's often driven by profits, not by what is genuinely best for your specific stage of life. The most important first step is not blame, but knowledge. Understanding how your body works after 60 and what it truly needs is the most powerful tool you will ever have. And it is never, ever too late to start giving your body the support it deserves.
Thank you for saying that, Doctor. I think that message is possibly the most important thing we've shared today. It shifts the feeling from fear to hope. It's not about what we've done wrong, but about what we can do right, starting now. It's a much kinder way to approach our own health. So, to help everyone put this into practice, let's quickly recap what we've learned. The 4 foods to be mindful of, and perhaps reconsider, are number 4, squid; number 3, imitation crab; number 2, scallops; and the number 1 most problematic, shrimp. But more importantly, we have 4 wonderful healing foods to embrace. Number 4, sea cucumber for joint support. Number 3, green-lipped mussels to soothe inflammation. Number 2, oysters for immunity and energy, and the number one most complete healing food, sea moss. Dr. Miller, do you have one final thought you'd like to leave with our audience today?
Just this. Your body has a remarkable innate capacity to heal and find balance. The choices you make every single day at your dinner table are some of the most powerful forms of medicine you have. Choose wisely and choose with kindness to yourself.
Choose with kindness. That's the perfect note to end on. Thank you so much, Dr. Miller, for sharing your time and your invaluable knowledge with us today. And thank you to our wonderful Health Voices community for joining us for this vital conversation. We would genuinely love to hear your thoughts. Which of the foods on our list surprised you the most today? And have you ever tried one of these healing foods, like sea moss or oysters, and noticed a difference? Please share your experiences in the comments below. Reading your stories helps us all learn and feel connected. If you found this conversation valuable, please take a moment to hit the like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And finally, consider sharing this video with a friend, a parent, or a loved one over 60. You could be giving them the piece of the puzzle they've been missing. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Health Voices.